Look at the tension in this child's face. We treat the modern birthday as a harmless milestone, but it functions as an intense ritual of the self. We gather friends and family to validate our existence, using attention and gifts to warm the ego. For thousands of years, early Jewish and Christian thinkers viewed this kind of self-focus with suspicion. To them, elevating an individual simply for being born presented a significant moral hazard. The 3rd century Christian scholar and theologian Origen documented this stance clearly. He observed the culture of his time and noted that the saints in Scripture never held feasts on their birthdays. Those celebrations were reserved for figures like Pharaoh or Herod. This historical tension suggests the ancient world saw a relationship between time and the self that modern culture has largely overlooked. In the ancient world, recording a birth date was a pragmatic tool for astrology. This was the belief that the position of the stars at the moment of your birth dictated a fixed, inescapable destiny. This cosmic fate was tied to the Greco-Roman concept of the genius, or daemon, a protective spirit assigned to you at birth that shared a mystic connection with the god governing that specific day. These beliefs are the ancestors of our modern rituals. The ancient Greeks baked round, moon-shaped honey cakes and lit them with tapers as offerings to Artemis, the goddess of the hunt and the moon. Early Judeo-Christian communities rejected these practices because their theology prioritized free will. To them, tying one's identity to a birth date meant accepting a fatalism that stripped away moral choice and human agency. From this perspective, a birthday party wasn't just a celebration. It was an act of surrendering one's life to the stars. The suspicion of the self-day is reflected in the biblical text itself. Across the entire narrative, there are only 2 explicit birthday celebrations, and both belong to powerful, worldly rulers. The first is the Egyptian Pharaoh in Genesis. He uses his birthday to display absolute authority. The party ends with the execution of his chief baker. The pharaonic birthday functioned as a lethal ritual, deciding who lived and who died. The second celebration belongs to King Herod. It was during his birthday banquet that his pride and his desire to please his guests led directly to the beheading of John the Baptist. Contrast these stories with the birth of Jesus. The Gospel writers provide exhaustive detail about the spiritual meaning of the event, yet they leave the specific calendar date entirely blank. In these accounts, the birthday celebration consistently appears at the moment a ruler's ego has eclipsed their moral judgment. There is an ancient alternative to aging. Time is visualized not as a straight line, but a sacred spiral. This involves the mausolot, spiritual constellations acting as a map for the soul. They are not a fixed fate, but challenges navigated through free will. Under this view, identity is marked by moral milestones rather than the passing of years. A primary example is the covenant of circumcision on the 8th day, a commitment to a purpose larger than oneself. It suggests that a life is measured by who we choose to become, rather than the passive turning of a calendar. The goal isn't necessarily to abolish the birthday party, but to shift the focus. We can move away from simple ego warming and toward the maturation of the soul. True self-worth is found in covenants and moral purpose, values that remain evergreen regardless of how many years have passed. The ancients remind us that a life is defined not by the day we were born, but by the depth of the soul we build every day after.